Hello, welcome to Digital Rights 101. I'm Iman Malik, and in this Vodcast series, we aim to understand digital rights in Pakistan with the guidance of experts. As the world transitions into a digital era, we believe it is important for everyone to be aware of their digital rights and responsibilities. Hello, welcome to Digital Rights 101. Today we're here with Zoya Rehman, who is a feminist researcher, writer, and organizer, and we'll be talking about cancel culture. Zoya, what is cancel culture?
That's a funny question because मैं ऐसी एक चीज़ कहने जा रही हूँ which is going to throw you off completely.
Okay.
Cancel culture isn't a thing.
Okay, so it doesn't exist.
So let me explain.
All right.
वैसे तो cancel culture जो है that refers to basically someone attacking somebody's, I guess, reputation, so to speak, or somebody's, I guess, like line of work on the basis that they've done something extremely egregious. उन्होंने किसी को बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान पहुंचाया है, उन्होंने किसी को हरासा किया है, किसी के ऊपर तशद्दुद की है, but obviously इसका काफ़ी एक broad meaning है जिसको हम, I guess, like cancel culture के तौर पे देखते हैं, but मैं इसलिए कहती हूँ कि कैंसिल कल्चर एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता, क्योंकि अभी तक कोई भी इंसान जो who has been cancelled technically and who's in power, वो तो मतलब बातें भी कर रहे हैं, उठ बैठ रहे हैं जगह जगह, हाँ वो कैंसिल कल्चर की तंकीद ज़रूर कर रहे हैं लेकिन उनको कोई खास फर्क नहीं पड़ा मेरे ख्याल से.
So it's not really effective.
So basically इसका आइडिया जो है वो डीप प्लेटफॉर्मिंग के आइडिया से आता है, जो basically black feminists in the US, I think they introduced that, and उनका यही कहना था कि अगर एक इंसान ने किसी को बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब नुकसान पहुंचाया है, if they are somebody who has perpetuated harm, तो basically उनके लिए consequences होने चाहिए.
Right.
And I think the question regarding, and in fact discussion around consequences is very important, because consequences का यही आइडिया है कि फिर शायद वो इंसान उस इंसान में और सोसाइटी में बदलाव आए,
कोई चेंज आएगा, बिल्कुल. But do you think there are consequences? We don't see consequences in this.
We don't, because we also don't see that, you know, society and जो भी हमारी communities हैं, what matters the most is cultivating relationships, having some form of trust building exercise, holding people accountable as well. And unfortunately, if accountability mechanisms don't exist, or problematic accountability mechanisms exist, then obviously जो at least लोग जो बहुत ज़्यादा exercise करते हैं power over, I would say, the powerless or the marginalized, उनको तो कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ना.
So what can victims do to counter gender-based violence?
I mean, obviously a lot of people everywhere in the world think that the legal justice is, something they can sort of rely on. I mean, that's the popular knowledge, but I mean, the truth is that nobody trusts the courts. Nobody trusts the police. And there's a reason why, like, the law has a history of being very patriarchal, of being decided by cishet men, and also not meting out justice. And I think उसमें ये बात भी ज़रूरी है कि सर्वाइवर के लिए जस्टिस क्या है, सर्वाइवर को क्या मतलब किस किस्म की सर्वाइवर अकाउंटेबिलिटी डिमांड कर रही हैं. एंड आई थिंक उस पर कॉन्वर्सेशन बहुत कम होती है, लेकिन जो स्टेट का आइडिया है, आई गेस, जस्टिस का या पनिशमेंट का, उस पर बहुत ज़्यादा बात होती है. सो आई थिंक कि सर्वाइवर सेंट्रिक अगर रिफॉर्म भी करना है, इवन अव्वल तो मैं यहाँ सिर्फ लॉ की बात नहीं कर रही, बट अगर कम्युनिटीज़ में भी हम काम करते हैं, वी नीड टू फोकस ऑन द पीपल हु हैव बीन हार्म्ड एंड रियली like let them speak, and also build accountability mechanisms that cater to their needs and their trauma as well. I feel, and I think that sometimes we just end up talking over people and talking over survivors and not actually listening to them, which is what obviously this Me Too movement that we've been witnessing इतनी देर से has been about as well. But वही बात है कि इतनी testimonies आई हैं, but हुआ क्या है इसके बाद? अभी तक जो लोग, you know, like जिनको accountable ठहराना था, या जो लोग, I mean, पाकिस्तान की example ले लें, हम, we have some clear,
I can't even begin to.
Exactly.
Definitely.
We have some clear examples in mind.
Yes.
मतलब वो बैठ के cancel culture के बारे में रोना रो रहे हैं, लेकिन उनकी like उनको कोई फ़र्क तो नहीं पड़ा.
You don't see much of a change even when it comes to celebrities and all of these people, even globally, outside Pakistan as well. So you might see a comedian got cancelled and then a year later they might have a Netflix special coming out. So things like that. Okay, oh, you're under some delusion that you get accountability of any kind.
I would say over here कि एक sort of, क्योंकि I know कि अब जो at least जिस चीज़ को लोग cancel culture मानते हैं, इसमें बहुत एक vast array of behaviors है, right? मतलब किसी ने कोई problematic बात कर दी, and I know कि obviously, and this is something that all of us have experienced. I don't know, किसी ने कोई problematic बात की, मैंने उस पर तनकीद की, अनविटिंगली कभी कभार मैंने वो क्रिटिक करके लाइक जो हज़ारों क्रिटिक्स थी उनके साथ मतलब मेरी क्रिटिक क्लम्प होगी और एक सॉर्ट ऑफ आई गेस लाइक एक डॉग पाइलिंग जो होती है वो उस बंदे के खिलाफ होगी. तो कभी कभार आई थिंक ये हमारी थोड़ी सी एक आई गेस पर्सनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी है कि हम देखें कि डज द मैसेज इन फ्रंट ऑफ अस और the thought that somebody has expressed, does that warrant outrage? If it's about somebody perpetuating harm, if it's something that's like outright bigoted, then yes, of course, you can intervene and say कि भाई you know ये बात सही नहीं है. But at the same time, I feel that हम लोगों को भी थोड़ा सा तकाजा लगाना है कि कोई अगर सिर्फ मतलब कोई sort of अपने फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच एक्सरसाइज कर रहा है लेकिन हमें वो बात पसंद नहीं आ रही, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हम उनको बेसिकली सॉर्ट ऑफ आई गेस लाइक कॉर्नर करें. एंड ये भी देखना आई थिंक ज़रूरी है कि अगर वो इंसान किसी मार्जिनलाइज कम्युनिटी से ताल्लुक़ रखता है या अगर वो एक ऐसा इंसान है या मतलब इट कुड बी अ पर्सन ऑफ एनी जेंडर जो जिसके पास इतना सोशल और पॉलिटिकल क्लाउड नहीं है. सो ऑब्वियसली जो हम कैंसलिंग की बात कर रहे हैं दैट बिहेवियर इज गोइंग टू हैव अ डिस्प्रोपोर्शनेट इफेक्ट ऑन दैट पर्सन.
Definitely. That's very true. Do you think there's other mechanisms or other things set in place for women to counter gender-based violence?
I think आप अगर ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव जस्टिस नेटवर्क्स का काम फॉलो करें जो पूरी दुनिया में एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, आई डू फील के एटलीस्ट जहाँ तक कम्युनिटीज़ हैं एटलीस्ट मतलब फेमिनिस्ट कलेक्टिव्स वगैरह में भी उनमें भी अकाउंटेबिलिटी मैकेनिज्म्स होते हैं. तो सपोज दैट देयर इज समबडी हु हैज परपेचुएटेड हार्म और हैज डन समथिंग egregious, you know, like they basically try to again make sure that the survivors' needs are met and heard.
So hearing them out and
but
understanding.
again they also I would add a caveat to this कि they also don't rely on the state for a reason because they believe that state की तरफ से उस तरह से justice नहीं आएगा, या अगर state अपनी तरफ से कोई जस्टिस लाने की भी कोशिश करती है वो इनफेक्टिव होगा. आज की आपने मतलब जो जाहिर जाफर का डेथ पेनल्टी अनाउंस हुई है उसका आपने देखा है कि पेरेंट्स जो हैं वो क्विट हो गए, उनके जो मुलाजमीन हैं वो जेल में हैं जिनको पेरेंट्स ने ये इशारे दिए थे कि आप लोग उसको मतलब बचाएं हमारे बेटे को, और पेरेंट्स को आपने छोड़ दिया है कि पेरेंट्स बेसिकली अब अपने बच्चे के लिए अपील करें कि वो निकल जाए. एंड आई मीन व्हाट डू यू थिंक विल हैपन इन द एंड? Will justice, however we think of justice, will it be served or not? And I also feel that the prison system and the criminal justice system everywhere in particular disproportionately cruel towards the marginalized. बहुत दफ़ा ये होता है कि खून किसी और ने किया होता है, जेल में कोई बेचारा गरीब इंसान चक्की पीस रहा होता है. एंड ये भी हमें देखना है कि कितने को पावरफुल लोग हैं जो अभी तक you know जेल गए या जेल जाके भी उनको VIP ट्रीटमेंट मिली. एंड आई मीन ये जाहिर जाफर वाला केस इज आई थिंक लाइक अ परफेक्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ दिस. आई मीन हाउ डिड ही गेट अ हेयर कट? You know, how does he have like a change of wardrobe every now and then, like when he showed up to like court appearances?
Zoya, do you think social media laws and the rules that we have aid women in any way or survivors in any way here?
I mean, both you and I know the answer to that question. माशाल्लाह हमारे पास एक like section 20 है पीका में जो आपको पता है कि एक silencing tactic के तौर पे इस्तेमाल होता है, जिसमें basically defamation notices survivors के ऊपर slap होते हैं. And you know, like that's something that a lot of perpetrators of violence get away with, especially in the Pakistani context especially, but that's actually a very troubling trend that we've seen happen across the globe, because I think that वही basically cancel culture के ऊपर जो basically लोग critique करते हैं, या critique तो नहीं मैं कहूँगी, but जो basically जिस पे लोग शोर करते हैं, हल्दवाई मचाते हैं, वो basically यही है ना कि भाई हाय हाय हमारी reputation ख़राब हो गई है। और आपने जो survivors के साथ किया है वो, and I mean आपको पता है कि हमारी जो FIA है और even जो हमारे मतलब courts हैं और जो एक I guess like judicial understanding भी है of I would say online harassment, that's not great. While we do know that obviously there are many organizations, MMFT hogi, DRF hogi, which frankly are doing God's work by trying to help survivors of violence, unfortunately the understanding of lawmakers and the executive is regarding harassment is really skewed, because even though they say they're trying to improve in regards to like not having a victim blaming mindset, unfortunately they do. And again, the powerful are going to be able to like through these sort of defamation notices like subsume the voices of survivors. मतलब इतने लोग हैं, आपने देखा है like section 20 has had such a chilling effect on people online. Like so many people think like thrice before talking about their experiences online now. Like एक platform था जो जहाँ survivors अपनी बेचारे बात कर सकते थे और आपने उनसे वो भी छीन लिया है. So I would like to say कि obviously इस पे reform होना चाहिए, but I'm not optimistic, especially with the ordinance that's surfaced, which is again like an extremely troubling development.
That's very true. For somebody who can't turn to the law, what options do they have if they can't turn to this cancel culture, they can't turn to the law, where do they go?
I mean, I don't think it's wrong to say what happened to you and to talk about your experience. So many women have been doing that online for many, many years. And I think there's this power in solidarity and being heard. I don't think that you cannot, like, I think it's okay to try to hold somebody accountable by saying कि मेरे साथ ये ज़्यादती हुई है. I would never tell a survivor of violence कि आप social media पे जाके ना बात करें, if that is their form of justice. And I do think that that's sometimes the only thing that survivors can do in a system and society that's very much sort of, like pitted against them. Again, I would leave the conception of justice to the survivor. Sometimes it's, I don't know, survivors want forgiveness. Sometimes they want some kind of punishment. Sometimes these are not things that I can make moral judgments about.
Definitely.
But I do know that and I can speak from personal experience here, whatever's happened to me in life in terms of, whatever kind of sexual trauma that I've experienced, the first thing that came to my mind was not कि मैं police station जाऊँगी. I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah. So that tells a lot about the system that we live in and how safe we can feel as women, as victims, as survivors.
And I think this raises so many important questions like the Me Too movement. And I'm not saying the Me Too movement doesn't have problems. Like there's a clear class problem as far as the Me Too movement is concerned. Who gets heard, who doesn't. But कुछ जो बहुत अहम सवाल इस movement ने उठाए हैं वो हैं questions around consent, around coercion, around heteronormative relationships even, and what the dynamic is about marriages. बहुत सी situations हैं जिसमें you're not able to give informed consent, or you're rendered incapable of giving informed consent. And I think as women, we all know this.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much, Zoya. Thank you for taking out time and coming here and talking about all of this and sharing such valuable information with us. This was Digital Rights 101. Thank you for watching.